What's up, my modern day ninjas? Falchion with you once again and once again. Well, no, haven't really done this. Um, yeah. Once again, we are fulfilling a request. This time by two of my longtime loyal viewers, Geek Master NYC and Dec, my buddy Declan. Um, he goes by so many different names that I can't keep up with you. I just call him Dec anyways. So, Dec wanted to know more about the Steam controller, and Geek wanted to know more about the Xbox One Elite controller. So, I thought I would break down my thoughts on them. This isn't any kind of review. This isn't me trying to convince you of anything. It's just me showing you my controllers and letting you know my thoughts on them and why I either like or do not like them. I don't want to try to convince you that one is better than the other in any way. But hopefully, just some unbiased, straight up, this is what I feel and this is why I feel it, will help you decide if you want any of these for whatever reason. So, first things first, for those not in the know, let's make it clear what is an Xbox type controller and a PlayStation type controller. All right, so here are the latest iterations of both the Xbox controller, Xbox type of controller, and is actually an Xbox controller, and a PlayStation type controller, which is actually a PlayStation controller. All right, so what makes an Xbox type controller an Xbox type and a PlayStation type a PlayStation type? And it's really quite simple. It's the placement of the sticks. The Xbox type controller will always have the offset sticks, while the PlayStation type controller will have parallel sticks. So here I have an Xbox controller. Here I have an Xbox type controller. This controller I use when I play games on my phone. Okay, for nothing else. It's not something I would ever want to use in like say if I was in some kind of a competition on Xbox or something. I wouldn't. The sticks are just too tight. I don't like the springs the way they feel. It's perfect for my phone. It plugs and plays into my phone. As you can see, the layout is the offset sticks. The D-pad's in the same place. The buttons are in the same place. So yeah. So here, Xbox type controller, though it's not an Xbox controller, and I don't even think it would work with an Xbox. It might. I could be wrong on that. I've never tried it. Not interested in trying it. So here is a PlayStation 4 controller, PlayStation type controller. Here is a PlayStation type controller. This is for my this is the controller for my NVIDIA Shield. Again, not something I would want to use. The sticks, for one thing, are really short. If you can see here, the sticks are super short, and I don't like that. And then I am like, if I had my choice, I would always choose an Xbox type controller over a PlayStation type controller because my thumbs interfere with one another in certain movements. Same on the PlayStation, except here you can see I have add-ons, because another thing I don't like about PlayStation controllers, PlayStation in general, like actual PlayStation controllers, and you can actually see it here because I don't want to, and it's actually not even, I can take this off. It's not even as bad on the PlayStation 4. They went a long way to fix this. Now, again, everything I'm telling you is personal preference. You may feel totally different, and that's cool. I applaud you for that. That's great. But I don't like dome sticks. So I go out of my way to have sticks that are either concave, like an Xbox controllers are, or at least I'll add something that's just totally flat. in general, right? So, yeah. So, but yeah, so that I thought that was important to make clear the different types of controllers, and I don't have that too much of that issue with these because I do have the taller add-on, the Control Freaks, which is filthy dirty, and I apologize for that, but I do play a lot and my hands sweat a lot, so it happens. But yeah, and then Steam is a beast. The Steam controller is a beast. All of is all on its own. So now let's get into the controllers. We'll wait for the Steam controller, and then the PlayStation isn't really that much of a thing. A lot of people love these. A lot of people started on PlayStation rather than Xbox. I am one of those people. So this stick placement is very, very personal and very, very familiar. But once I moved over to start playing on the Xbox, and this stick placement, I found it to be better for me. More comfortable, the larger controller I like. The heavier the controller, I like it a little bit better. It feels more substantial in my hands. I haven't really experienced the touchpad on the PlayStation controller, so again, that probably just comes down to the games that I play. So, but that kind of seems gimmicky. I am glad that they put a better trigger. It's not as good as the Xbox trigger to me, but it is definitely better to me than it was in previous iterations of their controllers. Not a bad controller. I'm not saying I hate it, but I would prefer the different stick layout. Other than that, it really isn't bad. I mean, I play with it all the time. Anytime I play my PlayStation. So yeah, but really this is about these two controllers. But let me show you these two. Is what I'm saying. The Elite and the Steam controller. But let me show you my evolution in controllers to what I do. So this is, of course, the Xbox One Day One Edition controller. It's a controller that came with my Xbox when I got it on day one. As you can see, I needed a taller stick. Comparing this to the Elite controller, which is kind of what this is all about. I love the Elite controller way more than this. One really big issue I have with with almost all controllers except for the Elite controller, to be honest with you, that I've experienced, is in time this becomes really grindy. Like you can feel it and even hear it a little bit if it's really quiet. I mean, you wouldn't hear it during a gaming session or anything, but you can definitely feel that grinding, and it's the friction of the plastic on plastic and the plastic rubbing itself off, grinding itself away, sanding itself, if you will. Let me show you this real quick and get it out of the way. This is just a generic GameStop controller for the Xbox One. If you get this, please note if you're gonna go and get this, it is a wired controller. For whatever reason, they do allow you to unplug the wire. I don't know why that is, but it does not work wirelessly. This is the controller that is generally hooked up to my computer when I'm not using, and I will use it for shooters because the Steam controller is not good for shooters, and I'll get into that in a minute. So yeah, just there's that. So after this, I wanted to move up. So here's my custom controller from Cinch. Very dirty. Again, I apologize, but gamers or whatever. And so it has a custom paint job, of course. And my colors, the button lights up yellow when it lights up. This thing is worse because of the paint. So this has gotten worse as far as the rubbing goes. Really grindy, annoying, and as you can see here, plugging in the headset chipped it pretty bad. But that's to be expected, And then I had bird buttons added and trigger stops, although I removed them probably for racing at some point. That's the only thing I could see why I would remove them. But yeah, so the natural progression from this was the Xbox One Elite controller. Now this controller, super heavy. I like that. Super smooth, no grinding. I like this D-pad. I like that everything is, of course, detachable, and also you have the built-in trigger stops. As you can see, I have this one on and this one off already, and of course there are also the paddles, which I don't remember what I was playing last, but for whatever reason were unnecessary. So yeah, you have the paddles, the regular size sticks, the taller sticks, as you can see here, dome sticks, which again, not my thing. I could have done without those. What I would have loved to have seen is for them to have put in a stick that cradles your thumb, like a deep U for if you're racing with a controller for steering. I think that would have been awesome. Again, the paddles. Again, sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't, depending on the game. On a flat surface like this, like a table, hard flat surface, it's fine because even with the paddles on, you put it down and it doesn't interfere. But I play on my in my theater seating in my game room, and this isn't my game room. This is actually my dog's bedroom. But I play in my theater seating, and the armrest is soft and curved. So when I sit this down, it always hits the paddles. So that is a definite issue that I have with this controller. Like, none of these controllers are perfect. Believe me, no controller is perfect. No controller is going to make everybody 100% happy. And this controller makes me the happiest. I like it the most. It has the layout that I want. I love this D-pad right here. It just feels good. I feel more confident with it. The buttons feel really good as well. All the buttons feel pretty good except for these and maybe these kind of cheaper controllers. But yeah, it's not perfect because, like I said, if I set it down where I play, it's not a hard surface, and so I end up pushing buttons by accident and screwing things up all the time. Like, I do that actually a lot. So, but it's, like I said, it's an excellent controller. It is the best controller out of all my controllers, in my opinion, that I have. It's a controller I'm happiest with. You can get a cinch controller that mimics this very closely. I haven't been on their website in a while, but I don't think you can get any kind of metal sticks, so there's always going to end up being that to grind, and that's, like I said, that's just going to be with any plastic controller. You know, plastic on plastic eventually is going to rub and grind, but for the money that it would take to get this close to this, you might as well just get this, because you're going to be spending less money and it's still going to be far more configurable and easier to configure than this. Now, I can't really speak on that other controller, that other programming gaming controller. I can't even think of the name of it right now. It's not even, but I imagine it's pretty much the same as far as it's going to be. There's always going to be issues. There's always going to be issues with any controller. It's going to come down to personal preference, but I cannot speak on something that I do not own. So it's good that I don't remember the name of it at the moment, and probably at some point I will put it somewhere around here in the video if I remember it. But yeah, so this is my favorite controller. It's definitely the controller I use the most. It's the most comfortable. It's the most versatile. Depending on the game that I'm playing, like I said, I can configure it. There's never really a time. I mean, when I first started, I had all the paddles on there, and I was doing all that and everything. But now, as I've grown to understand it a little better, there's never a time when I have all four paddles on at the same time because they can get in the way of one another. Like I said, especially if I'm putting the controller down, or if I'm just not careful, I can accidentally be looking to do something else and accidentally hit one of them. And there's never a time when it's just that advantageous to have all four of them on there. But still, again, overall, great controller, best controller in my opinion, especially for what it does. Now the Steam controller. This is a controller I also like a lot. The tactile feel of the touchpads, that rumble feedback that I get from them is awesome. But I personally cannot play a shooter with this controller. Like a competition, like if I was playing the Division, if I was playing the Division on my PC and I wasn't going in the dark zone, this controller is fine. It still has the same issues, but you're playing against the AI, so it's not really a big deal. But to get this on target using this trackpad, this touchpad, is difficult. To get it just precise, I'm trying to get those headshots or whatever. Let me turn it over here. It does have two buttons back here, and then all the standard buttons all around. It's very, I don't even know, it's not Xbox it's not PlayStation it really is its own beast. It almost feels like it would be PlayStation but these are the buttons, not the stick, which is here. So that's weird. This took a lot of getting used to, a lot. My Xbox One Elite controller took some getting used to. Probably took about a good 3 hours of play to really get used to it. And then it took time to figure out that, hey, you don't need all this stuff on here all the time. It's not advantageous to have everything on it at the same time. Actually, it's kind of detrimental. And then once I learned that, then this became perfect for my uses. This one, like I said, it took some getting used to. I'm still not 100% because I imagine there's got to be people that are just accurate as sin with this. I am not. I love it for Portal. I love playing Portal with this. RTS games with this is fun. Shooters, not so much. I've tried it with racing titles. Really fun with this, especially with these paddles back here. And they're so big, and they're not the paddles on this are really sensitive, really easy to push. Not so much on this. And plus, no matter where you put this, plus I played my computer's at a desk or a cockpit, so I'm never. It sits on a hard surface anyway, so I really haven't experienced that. Well, no, that's not true because I've used it with my Steam Link. That's another thing that's great with my Steam Link, and I have put it on the arm of my theater seat, and no problems. So never accidentally hit those. Like I said, great for racing games, especially using those as shifters. But then again, that's not something that I use it for much because I have wheels, so. But the games that I do use it for, the games that it comes in handy with, the only problem that I've really come across it with are shooters, and only in heavy competition, multiplayer sessions. Single player, it doesn't seem to be a big deal, but in multiplayer, this is not the controller that you want to go with. So usually I'll use this. Not really the controller I want to go with, but I use every controller I have except for this one. which is just only wireless. There's not even a way to hook a wire up to it. All my other controllers, when I use them wired. I always play wired. Everything is wired. So yeah, I ran out of recording time and I don't even know where it stopped, but hopefully I was talking about using everything wired, and except for this one, of course, this one is always wireless, the one I use for my phone. But yeah, wired is really important to me. So yeah, guys, that's it. So Dec, this controller, unless you were playing multiplayer shooters with this controller, I think you would dig this. This is just me knowing you. Okay, so I know you. I know uh, your gaming style. I guess we play a lot of games together. So yeah, this is an excellent controller for everything except for or everything that I've experienced it with, I should say, except for multiplayer shooters. Now, you are a PC guy though, so this may not be as foreign to you as it is to me, and you may be able to get used to it better. There may be people out there that are really used to it that can, like the whole flicking it really quick to turn around, and instead of just moving a stick to the side to turn around. It's just stuff that I haven't gotten used to yet, and don't see myself getting used to anytime soon because I haven't gotten used to it yet, and I've had it for months. But in the overall, an excellent controller. I could not recommend it more highly. So yeah, that's the Steam controller. Geek. There's nothing I can really say about this. You pre-ordered this and you let it go for whatever reason. I don't understand it, and then you couldn't pick one up because they were sold out for 3 years in a day. This controller, it's my go-to controller. The only reason I don't use this as much on my PC and I end up using this is because this is just always plugged in. And so instead of having to go over to where my Xbox is in my gaming room, unplugging this and blah, 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 yada, 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 and plugging it into my PC or whatever, I just play with what's already plugged in. Honestly, I only use it for multiplayer shooters anyways. Other than that, I would use a Steam controller if I was going to use a controller. So yeah, there's that. But this, you can't go wrong with this, in my opinion. I am of the opinion that this is as close to perfect controller as you can get, simply because you can configure it to whatever it is you need it to be. And that's what it comes out. Not to mention programming it and having multiple programs on there, or 2 programs on there for whatever your needs may be for those quick switches of games or whatever. So yeah, in the overall, I like most of my controllers. The only 2 I don't really like, this one isn't comfortable. The springs are just wrong, and it's a PlayStation style controller, so there's that interference that I get every now and then if I don't think about it or whatever. And then this one is great for what it's for, and which is my phone. It's has everything that I'm used to. The D-pad is really weird, but it's great for my phone. But the springs are wrong, too tight. Springs are a little too tight on this as well, on my NVIDIA Shield controller. I like a easier spring. For me, it makes for smoother transitions and everything. But overall, I like all my controllers, but this is my go-to controller, with my Steam controller being the perfect computer controller for most of the games that I play. For most of the games that I play with controllers on. Sorry. PlayStation controller. I wish they would step up, do something that had metal with different sticks or whatever. maybe more games with that actually use the touchpad, because outside of that, I really haven't experienced anything that I can think of that uses the touchpad for anything, other than like a start button type of, or back button instead, because this is the share button. So yeah, that's it, guys. I hope that helps. Again, Dec, for you, yeah, I would recommend this. I know you play a lot of Battlefield and everything, and I definitely wouldn't recommend it for that. Look, it's all out of thing shot. I wouldn't recommend this for a Battlefield, but for everything else that you enjoy, that I think you enjoy on the PC, like the other day I saw you were playing Arc. I use this for Arc. This is a fun controller to use with Arc. So yeah, and you also mentioned to me that you were thinking about getting a Steam Link. Excellent for that too. So yeah, and then Geek. Actually, I think by this point, at this time, I think I heard you mention we haven't been playing much because we've been playing the Division, and we have very different styles of playing the Division. But I think you mentioned that you already have one. So if that's the case, then you already know. You've already formed your own opinion. But for anybody else with an Xbox One, if you're thinking about the Elite controller, I mean, it's just because you can make it what you need it to be for you, and that's the bottom line. The comfort that it brings to you. The more comfortable you are, the better you're gonna be. So that's been my my opinions on these two controllers. Maybe I should just put the controller where it belongs and do that. So yeah, and then a look and my explanation of what all these other controllers mean to me. Thanks for watching, man. This has been a long video. I apologize for that, but it was a lot of information that I wanted to give out, and just kind of off the top of my head type thing as well. I really probably should start scripting these things, but I don't think it would be for any of us. And my phone just rang, so probably gonna need to answer that. Once again, thanks for watching the video. I hope you got something out of it. Until next time, this has been Faustin, and you know me. I'm Ghost. Later. Thanks for taking the time to check out the video. And if you have another second or two, use that time to show off your blade skills and slice that subscribe button. Until next time, later.